Now, I want to speak on, Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, we fun guy.
What's tomorrow?
Fun guy, what's up, baby?
What it do, baby?
Yeah, you already know.
This is
Yeah.
Right. When you think of Kawhi Leonard, you think of, super high peak, career, but he doesn't have longevity or the accomplishment. I mean, think about it. Kawhi Leonard does not even have like 9K points, I think, or even 10K points for the matter. Like his career stats are pretty low in comparison towards like other great players, right? Because when you think Kawhi Leonard, he's obviously a great player, all-time great. But he only has like what, 3 or 4 All-Star appearances. Like it's pretty low compared to a lot of, these players. He's had like very low all NBA, awards and, a couple of Defensive Player of the Year awards and all NBA, defense, right? Like very little, like when you think about it. But there's no denying, his greatness. Like his peak as of right now is, all-time great. When you think of Kawhi Leonard, you have to think of someone of the sort on the likes of like, Sandy Koufax, right? Like, that Dodger pitcher that had like a very short, career. But, he was winning like 4 like World Series, right? Like his all-time peak was like possibly, the greatest pitcher of all time.
For a short amount of time, like Halley's Comet, he was probably the greatest pitcher that I had ever seen.
Like, I don't even watch baseball, but when people mention Sandy Koufax, right? Like, even I know like this guy is like, might be the greatest pitcher of all time at his peak, right? But the reason why like he's not really in the conversation as much as others because like his peak was short, lasted like 5 years, right? You gotta think about that, like Kawhi Leonard. Like Kawhi Leonard is possibly, this might be his last contract if you think about it. Like, his injury is never gonna go away. Like, I don't give a shit, like, if people say, like, oh, look at this, weak ass dude, like, loan managing and stuff. Like, back in my day, like, every guy will play with, injuries and knickknacks and all that stuff. Like, this guy is, soft and stuff like that. First of all, dude, inflammation in the patella tendon or in his, leg is never going away. It needs to be managed throughout this whole season. Like, it cannot, like, it is a debilitating and degenerative injury, if I remember correctly. And, I believe the closest player to have that kind of injury is one of the baseball players, I believe. I think it's like, what's his name? Is Mark McGuire, I think? Or maybe I'm getting the name wrong, but it's one of the baseball players, and he had the same injury. And his career ended after that injury. Like once you get that degenerative, like, just in general, degenerative injuries, right? Like, you're done, basically. Like, it's never going away. It needs to be, like, managed. Like, I don't know how they're doing it. I mean, just by, the stories of Sandy Koufax, right? Like, he had a degenerative, like, arm issue. Like, these pitchers were, basically just throwing it until their arm literally fell off. Like, their arm literally fell off. Like I think there's, like, stories of him where he would pitch, like, so hard that his arm would turn black. Like, stuff like that. You think about it, like, with modern day, like, science and stuff, like, would he have, had additional years? Probably. But, that's a lot of what ifs. And, that's what got me thinking about Kawhi Leonard. Like, this might be it for Kawhi Leonard. This might be his last contract. Or maybe he finishes out, like, one more contract, but maybe, like, 2-3 years. I mean, like this is peak value Kawhi Leonard. Like, ever since that injury with, Zaza Pachulia, like it just like I don't know if they accelerated that injury or just just messed up everything, but it's just sad to say that this might be it for Kawhi Leonard. Like he will never win a final, like not finally, he will never win a regular season MVP because his body is not built to last in the regular season. That's why when he says he wants to play in the postseason, he wants to maximize his limitations in the postseason, right? That's why I don't understand when people talk about Kawhi Leonard and bring up his load management as resting and stuff. Like, dude, he has to rest, right? Like, you're bringing in a player that's obviously a franchise-changing player, but he had degenerative issues in his leg. Like, you would need to be very careful of overloading his leg. And that's why, Kawhi Leonard reached out to the top tier free agents, because he needs someone to literally steady the ship in the regular season, where basically they'll have a good seed in the regular season, and once he comes in maximized in the postseason, that's when that team will finally put it all together, and then they'll make their run to possibly a finals appearance, right? That's what Kawhi Leonard's thinking and what the Clipper offense thinks, right? That's why he reached out. That's why he wanted Kyrie Irving. I guess he wanted Kevin Durant because he has 2-3 years left. So it's gonna be the Kevin Durant and Kawhi show fully next season. But he wanted Kyrie Irving to carry the load in the regular season, and he'll come in. He wanted James Harden. He wanted probably Russell Westbrook as well, stuff like people that can hold their own for the regular season, and until he comes back fully. He'll appear in the regular season as well, but until he comes back fully, that's when you'll really see the real Kawhi Leonard. And it's kind of sad to say he will be the most weirdest player to rank. People are saying that if he wins this season he's gonna be in the top 10 and stuff. No, I don't think so. Top 10's kind of reaching it, right? Kawhi Leonard, obviously a lot of arguments are gonna be against him for he doesn't have enough accomplishments in general. For me, Kawhi Leonard's probably top 30 all time, probably. I mean, just think about it. Dude, he has less than 5,000 rebounds, I believe, less than 5,000 assists, less than 10,000 points. Just by thinking about those numbers, you would think, right? Okay, if you take out his name, okay, whatever. That career is okay. But if you put his name, but those are Kawhi Leonard's career stats. Kawhi Leonard. There's no doubt Kawhi Leonard is a first ballot Hall of Famer. No doubt. Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time Finals MVP. There's no doubt about it. But for him to leapfrog a lot of players into the top 10, players of all time, he doesn't have enough accomplishments to deal with that, because when you need to be in top 10, you need the career accomplishments, championships, MVPs, finals MVPs, you name it. Top 10 players, they got it all, right? What Kawhi lacks is the career accomplishments. Now, I don't know all time where Sandy Koufax compares to a lot of the modern day greats as well, because he was in the black and white era where it's very old. And this is when Vin Scully was young, when he was interviewing Sandy Koufax. But Kawhi Leonard's gonna be the weirdest player to rank all time, because Kawhi Leonard's a franchise changing player. It's just that his peak is to be so short compared to a lot of the modern day greats. I mean, for him to have like what 4 seasons of being super all time great, what others have had like like let's just say like LeBron James, right? He's had like you know probably like I'm throwing out a number that I can't even verify, but like 10 years of all time greatness, right? Like just 10 years of all time greatness, something like that sort. Like you can see the vast difference in top 10 players, and like Kawhi Leonard, if he wins this year and he wins like I don't know next year as well, like it's gonna be like it's gonna throw out like a monkey wrench in like a lot of these like rankings and stuff. So all in all, like I approve of this like like load management. Like dude, some players need load management like in order to them to like have a longer career. Like would I have loved Tracy McGrady to have load management? Absolutely. I mean his degenerative issues in his knees were messed up. Would I have loved Brandon Roy, Grant Hill, Derrick Rose have load management? Of course, you would love like all-time greats to survive and see how they would continue to improve. And sometimes it is what it is. Sometimes like there's no guarantee for load management to work, but it helps prolong certain people's careers. So at the end of the day, like you do what you gotta do to win, and that's what Kawhi Leonard's gonna do. And he does what he gotta do to win, and he's balling right now. Like in my opinion, best player in the game right now. He's living off the mid range. I don't even know why more players don't play like that, but this analytics ball stuff, it's gets a little too sciencey. Like that's not a word, but it gets a little too. It doesn't look like basketball sometimes. Sometimes like you just gotta play based off of what you know. But there's no denying Kawhi Leonard is an all-time great.